Okay, so now let's have a look at how we can find all pair shortest path. Okay, so we will assume again that our graphs are weighted, directed graph. We will also consider negative weight cycle. Okay, so if you remember in the last video, I told you that we can find all pair shortest path with negative weights in order V cube, right? So now in this video we will see how we can do that. Okay, what is the algorithm? So we are allowing negative weights on the edges, but we are not allowing negative cycles. Okay, and you remember why we are not allowing negative cycles? Because if there is a negative cycle, then definitely the shortest path between those two vertices which have this negative weight cycle is not well defined. Okay, so let's see how to proceed it. So we have seen Bellman-Ford algorithm that can compute single source shortest path for a weighted graph with negative weights on the edges. Okay, now we want to compute the shortest path between all pair of vertices. One way is to apply Bellman-Ford algorithm on all possible vertices, but in that case, if the graph is dense, our complexity will become v to the power 4. Okay, so the complexity of this is actually v square times e. Okay, and if the graph is dense, then e is equal to v square, order of v square. Okay, so in the worst case the complexity could be this. Okay, so let's see how we can do it better. Okay, so about something about shortest path, you know, if you remember that we have covered that shortest path will never loop. Okay, there are no cycles in the shortest path. There are definitely no negative cycles, because if there are negative cycles, then the weight is not well defined. The shortest path weight is not well defined. There could not be any positive cycle, because if there is a positive cycle, we can remove that positive cycle and can get better weight. And there are no zero weight cycle, because there is no sense in keeping those cycles, right? So in case of shortest path, there are no loops. Okay, so you will never visit the same vertex twice. Okay, so if suppose I to j we want to find the path, and suppose v1 v2 v3 vk, these are the vertex that will come in between, then definitely all these vertex are unique vertex, are different vertex, are distinct vertex. Okay, and I and j will not include in this. Okay, so there is no point that you go from I, start from I, come again to I, and then again having a path from I to j. Okay, there is no sense. So let's see how this we can inductively explore all possible shortest path efficiently. So if you remember, Bellman-Ford is a dynamic paradigm algorithm. Okay, so Bellman-Ford is a dynamic paradigm algorithm in which we will explore all possible paths, right? So similarly, we will see another algorithm which immediately follow this inductive definition, and in this also we will see all possible shortest path, but we will try to do it efficiently to improve the complexity factor. Okay, now what is the simplest shortest path from I to j? The simplest shortest path I am talking, if we talk in terms of length, what is the simplest shortest path from I to j? It is a direct edge. Okay, so I to j, if there is a direct edge, then this is the shortest length. I am not talking about weight now. Weight we will eventually find out. Okay, but if we talk about in terms of length, then this is the shortest path between I and j. Okay, so we will consider, we will take generalized case, and we will say that okay, let's say if we go from I to j, there are these m vertex which will come in between. Okay, now this m could be, so this could be one vertex, this could be two vertex, okay, or three vertex, or m vertex. And definitely if none of these vertex will come, then it means that there is a direct edge from I to j. Okay, so this is the general case. So we will assume that this is the scenario. All of v1 to vm are distinct, definitely, because in the shortest path there are no loops, and they are different from I and j. Why we are considering it different from I and j? So we will say if none of this vertex will come in the path, it lead us to the base case. Okay, that is a direct edge. Now how we will proceed? We will actually proceed by restricting what vertices can appear in this set. Okay, so let's see. So basically the idea here is we have to explore all possible paths, and then we will keep a record that which path is the smallest path, right? Okay, so let's see how the algorithm will follows. Okay, so inductively we will explore all the paths, and then we will find the shortest path. Okay, so just to recall that suppose we are having n number of vertex in our set V, right? Now what Wkij will represent, it will represent the weight of shortest path from I to j among paths that only go via 1 to k. Okay, so if you remember that our solution, we will build our solution by restricting the nodes which can go between I and j. Okay, so what we are saying that Wk of ij actually represent weight of all the paths, okay, which can which is there between I to j. Okay, so basically it is a weight of the shortest path that is from I to j among the paths that only go via 1 to k. Okay, so the nodes that can come in between are from 1 to k. Okay, and we are restricting these many nodes. So we are saying k plus 1 to n cannot appear on the path. Okay, we only have the nodes from 1 to k. Okay, so actually, so this is V actually, all our sets, and we are dividing it into, so from k and k plus 1 to n. Okay, so this set is having 1 to k and this is having k plus 1 to n, something like that, right? So at any point of time Wk of ij, we have restrictions on the number of vertex that may appear in between I and j. Okay, and gradually will increase this set one by one, and then we will go from 1 to n. Okay, so initially we will consider, so suppose we are having w0 ij. Okay, so w0 ij means the value of k is 0 right now. Okay, so no vertex can appear in between. No vertex can appear in between means there is a direct edge between I and j. Okay, so if there is a direct edge between I and j, we will take the weight of that, and w0 ij represent that particular weight. Okay, right? So this is how we build our solution. So now let's generalize this. So if we are saying that, okay, from wk minus 1 ij to wk ij, okay, there are two possible cases. One is the shortest path via 1 to k does not use vertex k. Okay, it does not use vertex k, and in that case wk of ij is equal to wk minus 1 of ij, because we are actually getting shortest path at wk minus 1 ij. There is no need to take the kth vertex. Okay, we already get the shortest path by taking k minus 1 vertex. Okay, so this is case 1, and there is this case 2 which says that the shortest path via 1 to k does go via k. Okay, so we have to consider v of k in that case. Okay, so k appear only once along the path. So if you remember, there is no repetition of vertex in the path. Okay, so how we can break up the path? So there is a path, so we are taking this vk node, so there is a path from I to vk, and there is a path from vk to j. Okay, so there is a path from I to k and k to j, each via 1 to k minus 1. Okay, so now the shortest path weight at kth at kth position is weight of k minus 1 I to k plus weight of k minus 1 k to j. Okay, so we have to add this weight plus this weight plus this weight. Okay, so these are the only two possibilities. Okay, so now if you remember, in dynamic programming what we do, we generally form all the cases, and based on those cases we will pick the one which best suits our condition. Okay, so in our case we have to minimize the distance between distance or weight of these paths, right? So what we are saying that there are only two possibilities: either we will take a vertex k or we will not take vertex k. Okay, if we take vertex k, right, then this is the weight. If we don't take vertex k, this is the weight. Okay, so what we have to do, we just have to minimize, we have to select the one with minimum weight. Okay, so this is the weight without selecting k, and this is the weight with selecting vertex k. Okay, and whosoever is minimum, we will pick and put it at this location. Okay, so once again I am repeating. So if we are not considering vertex k, so whatever weight we get at k minus 1, that is the final weight, that is the shortest weight. If we are considering kth vertex, then we have to find the weight from I to k and k to j. Okay, and add it up, it will give us the weight at kth location after taking kth vertex. Okay, and then to write the final answer, we have to select the minimum among these two cases. Okay, and this actually immediately follows Floyd-Warshall algorithm. So what Floyd-Warshall algorithm says that all these W's are actually adjacency metrics with edge weights. Okay, so what W0 represent? W0 represent, it is the weight between the edge ij or between the path ij if there is an edge ij, right? Because k is 0, so we don't want any vertex in between ij. Okay, so we are saying if there is a direct edge between I and j, then the value of W0 ij is that weight, whatever is written at that edge. If there is no such edge, then the weight is infinity, right? Now, so this becomes our base case, and then we will iterate our k from 1 to n. Okay, so right now in this case k is 0, then we will say that okay, now the value of k is 1. So we will see all the paths of length 1. Okay, or you can say there is one vertex in between. Okay, so I is there, j is there, and only one vertex or one hop is allowed. Okay, so we are coming from I to that vertex, and from that vertex we will go to j, right? So that in that case k is 1. Okay, similarly we will run for k2, k3, so on so forth till k becomes n. Okay, and each and every time we just compute wkij by using k minus 1 ij, right? And how to compute it we have already seen. So either we have to take that kth vertex. If we will take that kth vertex, this is the weight we got. Otherwise, if we are not taking kth vertex, then this is the weight we are getting. Okay, and we have to select the minimum of these two, and accordingly we will move forward, right? In the end, after k becomes n, okay, so Wn basically, this particular matrix contains weight of shortest path for all the pairs of vertices. Okay, so let's see how it will work. So W0 is an adjacency matrix with edge weights. Okay, so this we have already done. Okay, now this is the algorithm. Okay, so now these two are the initialization step. So if you remember, we will have to make a vertex adjacency matrix of n cross n, whereas n is the number of vertex in our set, okay, in our graph. So we'll make this vertex initially. Okay, at W0, what we have to do, we have to keep all the values as infinity. We will set all the values as infinity, and only those columns which represent the direct edge between I and j, we will fill that with the actual weight. Okay, this is what W0 is saying. Okay, in W0 we don't want any vertex in between I and j, means there are direct edges. So whatever direct edges are present in the graph, those blocks have weight, Otherwise at every location we have to just fill the infinity thing. Okay, so this is actually the initialization step or the base case, you can say. After that, what we have to do, we have to iterate our k. So for k is equals to 1 to n, okay, we have to fill this matrix. So for each value of k we have to fill the entire matrix. Okay, and at each and every point we just have to find out this two values. Whosoever is minimum, it will become the answer at that location. Okay, so let's see an example, then the things will be much more clearer. Now let's assume that this is the graph and we have to find the shortest path for each pair of vertex, right? So how many nodes are present in this graph? There are 8 nodes, right? So we will make a matrix of 8 cross 8. Okay, and so first of all we will make W0. Now what is W0? So if you remember, if there are direct edges, okay, so in this case our k is 0, means we don't want any node in between I and j. Okay, so suppose we have to say 1 to 1. 1 to 1 is infinity. This graph does not have any loops, so definitely all the diagonal entries are infinity. Okay, okay, fine. Then we will say, so suppose this is I and this is j, right? Now 1 2. Now 1 2, there is a direct edge between 1 to 2, so we will fill entry 10. Okay, we will insert that weight. There is no need to go via any vertex in between. Then comes 1 to 3. 1 to 3, there is no direct edge, so we will put infinity. Okay, so basically W0 is just a replica of this particular graph where the entries shows direct edges. Okay, weight of the edges between them. So you can see 5 and 6. So from 5 to 6 there is a edge with -1 weight, so we have filled that as an entry. Okay, so this is what W0. So now we will increase our value of k and we will say that, okay, let's say our k is 1. Okay, so if you remember, we are actually restricting, right? So we are saying that only vertex 1 lies in this set, only vertex 1 is allowed in between, and from 2 to n everything lies in different set, right? So we will form W1 by taking the first node only. Okay, so let's see further. Okay, now if we take W1, see W1 is not contributing for anything in between, right? So for example, we can not come from anywhere to 1 and then from 1 we can move further, any further. Okay, so it means that it don't have any such paths, right? So we will just fill this entire column with infinity. Okay, so basically in this particular case W0 is exactly same as W1 because W1 is not contributing anything. Okay, we cannot go from anywhere to anywhere via 1. Okay, so let's now increase our set value of set k, and now we are saying that you can either take 1, so now k is 2, right? So our set becomes, so from 1 to 2, either you can take 1 or you can take 2, and 3 to n we cannot take. This we cannot take, only these two are allowed. Okay, so let's see we can get anything better with this. Okay, and for this we just need the previous set, right? Okay, fine. Now let's have a look how to form W2. Now from W2 we have few paths. Okay, so from 1 we can go to 6 via 2. From 3 we can go to again 6 via 2. From 7 we can go to 6 via 2. Okay, so it is actually contributing. Okay, now what our algorithm is saying? Now let's see. So previously, okay, in W1, what is the path, what is the value of weight from 1 to 6? It is infinity. Previously it is infinity. Okay, so we will say W of k minus 1 ij. Okay, now here k is 2. Right now the value of k is 2, right? So it actually gives you W1 of 1 6. Agree? So 1 6, what is the value of this? Infinity. Okay, now if we go via 2, what is the value? What is the value of that? So we will say okay, so let's see. So the formula says k minus 1, okay, ij, okay, I is 1 and this is 2, k is 2, okay, plus weight of k minus 1. Then now we have to go from 2 to j is 6 in our case. Okay, we have to find for 1 and 6, I and j. Okay, so what is, so k minus 1 is 1, so we just need to see the previous matrix. Okay, so w1 of 1 2, w1 of 1 2 is 10 plus 2 6, 2 6 is this, so we have to add this number 12. Okay, now which is minimum, 12 or infinity? 12 is minimum, so we will write 12 here. Okay, similarly we will move further. So we will now see any other such ij. So there is a path from 3 to 6. Previously 3 to 6 is having infinity. Okay, it is having infinity, this value. And now 3 to 2, if you see, 3 to 2 we have 1 plus 2 to 6, 2 to 6, 2 to 6 is 2. Okay, so we will just have to add it, so 3. So 3 and infinity, which is minimum? 3 is minimum, so we will do that entry. Okay, similarly we will do this entry, you can cross check this. So only these 3 entries will update, because having k equal to 2, having 1 and 2 vertex, allowing 1 and 2 vertex to be come in between, we only have this many paths. Okay, now further we will increase the value of k and we will take we will say k is equal to 3. Now we can take 3 vertex, 1 2 or 3, and for that matter, to fill w3 we need only w2, we don't need any further matrix. So you can actually replace maybe w1 2, or you can override w1 for that matter, right? Okay, so now our value of k is 3, means these 3 nodes are allowed, these 3 nodes are allowed now. Okay, so do we have any further paths? Let's see. Okay, so our algorithm will run and will check. So we are having these paths. Okay, so using 3 we can go from 6 to 4, 6 to 4. Okay, we can go 6 to 2, we can go. Okay, so we can go from 6 to 6, and also we can come from 6 to 6 also by taking this loop, right? So remember, 1 is allowed, 2 is allowed and 3 is allowed, because the value of k is 3 right now. Okay, so you just cross check that what nodes are allowed and what are the paths, and have update those values, right? So otherwise all the other values we have already updated, right? So basically whatever new node we add, we have to see all possible paths via that node, considering all the previous node as well. Okay, so the new node added is one is from a path from 6 to 2. Okay, so 6 to 2 previously was infinity. If we allowed to use 3, I mean k is 3, then we will say that the path, it will have -1 value. Okay, so we will update it. Then there is a path from 6 to 4, right, which is having again -1 value, which is previously infinity. Then we are having 6 to 6 path. So 6 to 6 previously it was infinity, but we find a path using the given restricted nodes, right? We are having we can use only 1 to 3 nodes. Using these nodes in between, we have a path from 6 to 6 with lesser weight, that is 1 weight. So we will update that as well. Okay, so we carry on this thing. So I will not show you the entire thing, but trust me, when you come to wn actually, okay, so wn will actually consider, so see, this particular matrix is showing, considering 1 2 3, these are the shortest path you can take from any node to any other node. Okay, and when we keep on increasing this, and at one particular time when it becomes wn, then we are saying, considering all nodes, these are the shortest path to go from any node to any other node, means all pair shortest path. Okay, and this is how the algorithm, we are exploring all possible possibilities, and when the algorithm stops, right, we are having the shortest path between all pairs. Okay, now let's talk about the complexity of this. So it is very easy to follow that the complexity is n cube. Why it is n cube? So if you remember the algorithm, so each, how many w's, how many times we will iterate k goes from 1 to n, means n times, and in each iteration how many entries we are looking for? We are looking n square entries actually in the worst case, right? So the complexity is n cube. Okay, because there are n iteration, and in each iteration n square entries update. Okay, now let's see the space complexity. So if you follow this thing and you make n number of n square matrix, then the space complexity is n cube. Okay, but for a matter of fact, we only using k minus 1th entry. Okay, so when we are at 1, we only need w0. When we are at w2, we only need w1. When we are at w3, we only need w2. So at any point of time, you can have 2 of them and can override. So when you are computing 2, we don't need w0, so you can override this, then you can override this, then so you can go in this way, and in that case we need 2 times n square, that is order of n square space complexity. Anyways, you need the matrix, right? N square space you need, but only 2 matrix you need. Okay, so the complexity space requirement can be reduced to n square, but runtime complexity you cannot improve better than n cube, because you have to work with a matrix. So n square is the complexity of matrix itself, right? And you have to run the algorithm for n iteration. So with this we have completed shortest path. Okay, thank you.